Hello, my name is Patrick. I just finished a diploma in software development at a code institute in Dublin. I'm just making this video so I can review a project, give you some insight into how I approach problem solving, and just to add to a better CV in order to maybe get my foot in the door from a first opportunity. Okay.
Okay, so the project was a Flask quiz I had to build using Python, Flask, some JSON files, and then it was eventually made into a one-page app with JavaScript. So here you have the quiz, fairly simple, very straightforward. It just asks for a username. So you go to username, go in there, and ask you a question. Either you get a correct answer, such as time for this one, or you can skip and you go on, it collects your score, and you keep skipping or you get to the end and it will have a leaderboard with your score and a personalized message. Terrible, as I know. So the first thing I want to look at was I want to look at how I thought back then. This was at the very start. I'd only been doing this about 2 months looking at it. And what I was doing, what I noticed was I was just sort of defining functions, putting them in here. The name wasn't great. So I'll have an example, right? So, well, look here, there's one there, a username validator. Well, we'll have it here, the username validator here. It's just a function to check if the username fitted into that leaderboard you see there, if it was going to fit in Grad. It was just defined in a little module here. It wasn't great. Worked fine though. But then again, as you look again, you'll have all those things like initiate session. At the time, I couldn't quite get the concept of object-oriented programming. It was very new. I was getting the functions, I could make it work. So I had to look up, I was thinking, I just want a dictionary to change things, keep a score of things, therefore, so I could go through this JSON file, use an URL, get the answer, the riddle, and the source of the picture that goes with each one. So I just wanted a dictionary to control it, so people couldn't go back and cheat and break it and so forth. So this is what I've been doing, initiate session. And at the time I thought, well, I looked it up at Google. It was like some sort of a cookie dictionary, I could work this, I could get it. So I had initiate session. And that was one example. Another example where I had things that I've gone ahead and improved it. I'll show you another one. You see I'm using session URL there as a guidance because I thought of it as a dictionary. I'm also, you see, I'm using a function here, increment URL and score. I mean, it meant much to me when I did it. It didn't mean much then, and I've got two arguments there, or two arguments, one and one. And you'll see I use it again, increment URL and score 1 and 0. Now, one of those was for a correct answer, and one of them was for skip. Worked at the time, the mentor looked at it. We did correct a lot, but we just kept that, it worked fine. Worry about getting into the object-oriented programming further. So when I came back at it and I thought I'd look at it now, how would I improve this? How would I make it more logical? How would I make it more, keeping with the principles of object-oriented programming, right? So we look at it here. We've taken those functions, right, and rather than use the sessions, I thought I'd make a quiz class and have the properties here, self.username, self.score, self.error, set already. And all you need is the constructor with the username. And we have a few getters to help you get it rather than going for, putting session brackets URL or session brackets score or whatever. And what I did, which makes the most logical sense for me and a bit more abstraction as well, was the correct answer and pass question. So rather than, as opposed to you saw previously, we had the increment URL score. So if you put in 2 ones, you got the correct answer. The URL would move on, and the score would go up. So if the URL moved on, you would get a new riddle, a new picture to go with it. So I thought, because if you're putting in, if you're using the same function but you're using arguments when you don't need to, and even the naming of it, increment URL and score, it doesn't really help abstract it. There can be more confusion involved with it. So when I came to look back at it for the purposes of this, I thought, well, I need to name it better, and I need to, first of all, make it easier for someone on the other end to read, and just more simpler to understand, less confusing. So when it's like your increment URL and score, it was just a defined method that would happen. It wasn't very, OOP. So what I did then is I added for correct answer here and pass question. So it would, for the correct answer, the score would go up one, and so would the URL, and it would go across. If you pass question, the URL would just go up one, the score wouldn't. So, but if you put that in to the actual app, you'll see here it's just, quiz, correct answer, great, you did get a correct answer, and the correct answer there. So you'll see it's, and where it wasn't a correct answer, or say if you skip the question, it would just be quiz.pass question. It would be very simple, very straightforward. You no need to put in arguments. It does what it's supposed to do. It's great. Now, it's been quite a while since I looked back at it, and I was actually quite surprised how quickly it was to clean it up, to get the principles in, such as the abstraction, where there's less things to know, and encapsulation, to get the code all in there. What I probably would actually add to that is to use Python properties to guard the constructor and have the username validator in the constructor. It's probably the only thing I would add to that point. But yeah, no, I was actually quite surprised how easy it was and the difference that I've made since my progress through the journey. Right, so thanks for watching. Much appreciated. If you want to get in contact with me, I'm sure there's a link nearby. I have lots more on the GitHub. That is by no means the most complicated coding I've done. So thanks again for your time, and hope to hear from you.